Cheryl. I'd like to welcome Mark Prince from Farmblox. I'll give you a thumbs up.
Sure. Hello, how are we? A little loud. Hi, we're Farmblox, and together we are driving farms with data, not an almanac. Farming today is really hard. There's a labor shortage, a fertilizer shortage, and drought. And the impact to the farmer is that they have reduced yields, which reduce their bottom line. Farmblox is the solution there because we provide an IoT farm platform allowing them to leverage data to improve labor efficiency, reduce input resources, and maximize yields. And we do that by combining sensors, cameras, and control. Sensors allow us to monitor everything that's happening on the farm and alert them when there's an issue before it gets out of hand and hurts their yields. That improves yields, improves labor productivity. By adding cameras, we can see what crops are experiencing and how they're actually performing, finding ways to recommend to the farmer what to do to improve their operation. And by adding control, we complete the entire circle, allowing us to optimize every aspect of their farm to really maximize yields as much as possible. But going past the individual farm, at scale, we can leverage data across all farms to accurately predict how a crop will grow based on certain conditions, so that we can recommend what they should grow based on their specific microclimate and local market demand. Or let's say forecasting of who's growing what, how much, and when it will be ready for improved crop yields, future trading, or distribution. Now we have a seasoned team that's been working together for over 6 years now, bringing IoT and cloud platforms to market. And our advisors have founded over 7 companies, 2 which have IPO'd, 4 which have been acquired, and 1 who is the leading expert in maple production. To go to market, we're going to start by selling sensors. Those sensors are a box, much like this, that you can put anywhere on your farm to remotely see what's happening. To that box, you can connect any type of sensor. So here we have soil, here we have vacuum, to monitor every condition, no matter what type of farm you are. Which means that we have one product that allows us to tap into many market segments, types of farms, allowing us to leverage quantities of scale for a reduced price to the farmer. We'll be starting with maple syrup because they have added maple as an add-on cash crop to their existing vegetable or dairy farm. And they also have a really big problem with a simple solution, which is that they have hundreds of miles of tubes that collect sap to turn into maple syrup, and those go through dense woods and mountains. If there's a hole, they lose up to 40% of their yield. And the only way to find it is to walk around the woods looking for it. We solve that by allowing them to put a remote sensor out in the woods that alerts them when there's a hole and where it is, improving yield and labor efficiency. At our test farm up in Vermont, we saw a profit increase of $210 per sensor, and they could have over 200 sensors. And that's just for maple. They do other things too. And our sensor only cost them $125 for an immediate 1-year ROI. And that's a third of the cost of our competition. Starting out by selling sensors, that's a $3 billion market, growing at about 13% per year. And as we offer a control and cameras, we'll expand into the global precision ag market at $23 billion. And from there, we'll expand into the larger opportunities of crop futures trading, distribution, genetics research. Now, our competition can't do what we do because they're specialized, both by the technology, sensors, or cameras, and by the application, the specific crop, or only greenhouses, or only fields, which means they have a limited data set and are not useful to the majority of farmers who don't just grow one thing. And that specialization means that they have to make all their money from a small pool of people, which makes it prohibitively expensive to most farmers. Now, we're looking for 30 minutes of your time to talk about why we need $500,000 to get ready for our paid beta program at the end of this year and bring on the resources and staff that we need to achieve our goals. So thank you, and together, let's optimize farming. Any questions?
Judges, take it away.
So you're starting off as a hardware company.
Correct. So we have a hardware component. We sell sensors, and those sensors, they send the signal to a base station, which we lease at an annual fee.
Okay, so they don't have to buy it, they can lease it.
They lease it's like a Wi-Fi router that receives the signal, and all of those they buy.
And who owns the data?
We do, so that we can provide those larger opportunities later on.
Now, farmers are a notoriously conservative customer segment. They hate trying new things, to grossly overgeneralize. I love that you said you've identified a beachhead market people with a particular problem. That said, can you convince me that the maple syrup folks, even though they have a big problem, that they're aggressive enough that they'll work with a brand new broke-ass startup? Broke-ass startup.
All right. So
That's not the answer to be yes.
Okay, well, the answer is yes. And the reason why is that we were originally working on vegetable farm sensors. We went on a tour of a maple syrup farm, and they brought this up in the tour that they don't like any of the systems out there. They're too expensive. They break. They hate the design. And we just started working with one, and from there, they just started putting us on their Instagram channel. And this is one of the top influencer farms in Vermont, telling other people about us. Those people instantly reached out because they need a better solution. And from there, talking to farms, we've had them keep referring other farms to us, and we're just not ready to be able to sell it to them yet. So that's frankly, to answer your question, that's been our experience.
Fragmented agricultural industry.
Yes, very fragmented.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of, so for us, we needed to be able to sell to about 100,000 cows to be profitable. What is your kind of break even? How many customers do you need to make this work?
Yep. So we need about 150 customers, and that can be a mix between vegetable farms and maple syrup farms. Now, naturally, that number varies based on the size of the farm, but that's about the number from selling sensors and leasing base stations alone. Now, we have the additional revenue streams that'll come on later on.
Could you bring back your team slide and just
Yep.
elaborate a little more on what successes do you have to your belt that are going to help you deal with the biggest challenges in front of you, and if there's a big gap to try and fill?
Successes, okay, yep. So we've worked on a number of different projects throughout the years that are agriculture related, trying to find the right way, because it is a hard industry, to find the right way to help them. And actually, some of those we've had to, so like for example, a while ago, I was actually helping farmers and people doing gardening, personally contracting out labor, and then moved on to this opportunity because it was a way to help out those individuals better. And then we've also had successes actually operating one of the largest servers for Minecraft, which it might sound like, oh, it's Minecraft, but there's a massive amount of data right there, and providing everyone the access to do so is actually quite a challenge.
One more question.
Good time for one more. Who's got the final question?
I know that you're starting as a selling hardware, and the value that you can bring these farmers is so high. If you're talking about 40%, well, these guys are like 10% margins if they're lucky. And so, I guess what kind of thinking have you done about how to really kind of, like the case of the maple syrup case, like, oh, for every leak I find, I get paid $50,000 or something like that.
From like they pay us for it?
Yeah, ultimate business model is not to just sell hardware, but really to like really deliver on that
Correct,
value.
correct. So that's something we've put a lot of thought into. The little caveat there is, first, we need to show that they can get the value, because the response has been, show me. Right. So we have to test with Baird Farm for maple syrup, and then Rosalie's Garden, who's the largest and oldest organic farm in New Hampshire for vegetable. To when they ask, "Show me," we can point at it. And the funny thing in that experience, actually, when we were up there a couple weeks ago installing at the vegetable farm, is they were all running around looking at the data, being like, "Oh, I need to go water," because they never knew when they were supposed to go water. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.